Hello friends, welcome to the next session of AI. Today we'll talk about game playing in AI. Remember, we are not talking about the current recent games what you are playing. We are talking about the initially how games started with the involvement of AI in it. The initial stages of game playing which initially started in 1950. So before that, let us first know what is adversarial search. We already know state space search. We have solved so many examples of state space search, and today we'll talk about adversarial search. So adversarial search is multi-agent environment. Till now, whatever we saw was single agent. Like we had okay single goal to reach, only one person is there and he'll reach the single goal. But here you have multi-agent environment. Any given agent needs to consider the actions of the other agents and how they affect its own welfare. So suppose there are two agents or two people involved in it, then person need to know what are the possible moves the opposite person will make and how it will affect him. Of course, we'll talk in detail. Introduce possible contingency into the agent's problem solving process. Now we cannot predict, right? So there are many non-predictable things which will be there in solving a problem there. Then you have cooperative versus competitive. Now many times you see there are so many team games going on nowadays. So when you form a team, you cooperate each other. But with the other teams, you are the opponents or the competitive. So adversarial search problems are agents which have conflicting goals. Example is game. Now, when we are talking about the conflicting goals, that means it is opposite goal. Opposite in the sense, now if I win, the other person will lose. If the other person loses, wins, then I lose, right? So the goals are conflicting. And under this adversarial search, today we'll talk about game playing. So what game playing needs? A game playing requires intelligence and a well-defined states and rules. Each and every game has the states and the set of rules what you need to follow to play that particular game. And of course, games are designed using AI, so it requires intelligence. Now, what is a game? Game is a sequence of choices. What choice you make at each instance. So each choice is made from a number of discrete alternatives. There are many alternatives available. So which one you select? So each sequence ends in a certain outcome and every outcome has a definite value. So whenever you follow a particular sequence, you end up with a particular outcome and which has a particular value for the opening player. Now, what are the types of games? Broadly, we are looking at two types. That is perfect information game. In case of perfect information game, the whole information about the game is known to both the players. Like each player knows about the rules or how the opponent will play. He can guess the different possibilities an opponent can play and how it will affect the original player or the player one, right? So both the players knows about each other's moves, possible moves in detail. A very simple example, if you look at it, is chess, tic-tac-toe, checker, etc. The best thing is if you are playing a tic-tac-toe game, most of you all have played, I still know or may not, many a times you might have played it, right? In case of tic-tac-toe, suppose you are using a cross. When you are putting a cross, what you'll check, okay, where I should put it so that I can make a whole row or a whole column or a whole diagonal. But when you're putting it along with this, even you think like how your opponent will get a chance to complete it. So how he should not be able to complete it. So you have all the information. You have the information about your game as well as the information about your opponent's game. That is perfect information game. Next, what we have is imperfect information game. In case of imperfect information game, example like cards, when you playing cards, a bridge game, you can have a look at only your cards. You cannot look at your opponent's card or opponent player's card. So you don't have the full information about the game. You have the information which is available only with you related to you. Another simple example will be rolling a dice. You cannot say what will be the output of a roll, right? But we'll talk about perfect information game. Now, what are the characteristics of game playing? The very first characteristic is unpredictable opponent. Specifying a move for every possible opponent reply, right? So what? I just imagine like how he'll play. Accordingly, I'll keep my strategies ready. Time constraint, unlikely to find goal, must approximate. You cannot say you'll reach the goal, especially if you look at the chess game. The chances of winning is very complicated and it's time consuming. So it is always an approximation. Let's look at the definition. You have initial state. This defines initial configuration of the game and identifies which player to move. Right? In the beginning, you have, if you take a simple example of tic-tac-toe game, it is a 3 by 3 square. So an empty 3 by 3 square is your initial state and a first player ready to make a move. Then you have a successor function. This identifies which are the possible states that can be achieved from the current state. Like right now you're in a current state. Now, if you make a move, where you might move. If you make first move, where you'll move. If you make a second move, where you'll move. Right? All the possible moves after the first state. This function returns a list of move, state pairs, each indicating a legal move and the resulting state. Goal test, it checks whether a given state is a goal state or no. Now states where the game ends are called as the terminal states or the end states. Again you have path, cost or utility or payoff function. It gives a numeric value for the terminal state. Terminal the states are the states where your game ends, right? Or you can even call them as, okay, last states. In chess, the outcome is win, loss or draw with the values. Like if the outcome is win, then the value is +1. If it is loss, then it is -1, and the game draws, then it is 0 value. The simple definition of game. Now, how do I formulate a game? A game with two players, max and mix. Max moves first. I'll talk about max mix in the next lecture. So a game with two players can be defined as a search problem, right? Now with you have initial state, which is a board position. See, if you look at it, most of the examples what we'll be taking will be a board example because we know it's a perfect known game, right? So board position, player to move. Like you have a player will make the moves of the items. If you look at the chessboard, then chessboard is a board position, the chessboard, right? The player which makes a move, right, moves item from one position to another. Then successor information is a list of legal pairs where you have move and state. Then you have goal test, whether the game is over, which is represented using your terminal states. You have a utility function which gives a numeric value for the terminal states, which we already seen. That means if you win the game, the numeric value is +1. If you lose it, it is -1. And if the game is draw, then it is 0. So what is not game tree? Game tree is nothing but initial state plus legal moves. So the games are formulated in this way and represented using a game tree. We'll look at the game tree little later. Now how to play a game? Typical structure of a game in the AI is there are two-person game, what we'll be talking about today, right? Players alternate moves, like turn by turn they play. First player plays, then the next player. Like there's an alternate moves made by the players. Zero-sum game. One player's loss is the other's gain. This is an important thing. Like if one person is losing, then the other person is gaining. It describes a situation in which a participant's gain or loss is exactly balanced by the losses or gains of the other participants. Like if I say player 1 is winning, his score will be +1. And because player 1 is winning, player 2 has to lose. So his score will be -1. So +1 and -1. So our overall output will be, it's a zero-sum game. Then we have perfect information. Both players have access to complete information about the state of the game. No information is hidden from either player. Everything is openly available on the board itself, right? But somewhere no chance involved, that is rolling a dice. The simple examples of the games are tic-tac-toe, checker, chess, Othello, etc. Now there is something called evaluation function which is involved. So let us consider f of n is the evaluation function. Evaluation function is whenever I'm making a move, I need to evaluate how good my move will be. whether it will be good for me or it will be good for my opponent, or it will be a neutral one, right? For that we use a evaluation function. Okay, so evaluation function of the position n. See, now when you are playing, talking about a board game, board games have positions on the board. So here we are talking about position n. So f of n, if it is more greater than 0, then position n is good for player 1 and bad for player 2 in from the point of player 1, right? And if the f of n is less closer to 0, it is more closer to 0, then position is, it is bad for player 1, means less than 0, you can say more less than 0, it is more greater than 0. And if it is nearer to 0, then the position is neutral. So nothing but f of n you can call with more closer to 1 or more greater than 0, then it is 1, then you have minus 1, then you have 0. So example of evaluation function for tic-tac-toe, if you are playing a tic-tac-toe game, f of n, right? Well, how do we calculate is number of 3 length open for player 1. Like what you will be doing, you'll be checking where you can, because what we need a complete row or a complete column or a complete diagonal, and all of these are of length 3. So we check the number of 3 lengths open for player 1 minus number of 3 lengths open for player 2. Now where 3 length is a complete row, column or a diagonal. I hope it is making some sense. Okay, let's talk about a game tree. Games are represented in the form of trees, wherein nodes represent all the possible states of a game and edges represents moves between them. Initial state of the game is represented by the root. The root node's successors are the positions that the first player can reach in one move. So in the initial state, the root is a blank playing board, right? Where no moves are made. As soon as player 1 makes a move, it enters a new state. Now player 1 has many options to make a move. So depending on the options player 1 selects, it forms a successor nodes. Now their successors are the positions resulting from the second player's move and so on. Terminal or the leaf nodes are represented by +1, -1 or 0 depending on win, loss or draw. Each path from a root to a terminal node represents a different complete play of a game. Let us look at the game tree. Now if you look at this, this is my initial state. It's an example of tic-tac-toe game. This is my initial state, my board is empty and it is 3 by 3 board. Now, player 1 can put his mark here on this position, this position. So he has got 9 different possibilities to put his first move, right? So this is your root node and this is your successor nodes. So depending on where player 1 puts his cross, you have these many possibilities which you need to explore. Now, once the player 1 has put his mark, then suppose player 1 puts it here, then the second player starts exploring from here and then he starts putting his mark there, right? So this is what it goes on continuing further and further. At the end, when the game ends, you have a terminal node or the leaf nodes. Now here you have -1 because he is not an initial player. Initial player is X, is a second player. So for the initial player, it is a loss. Here it is a draw and here it is a win for the initial player. It's a simple thing, right? A game represented in the form of a game tree. You have initial state. Depending on the legal moves made by the player, the state changes. Right now, if you look at this was the root state and now the state changes as soon as the a move is made. Again, the state changes. So state keeps on changing on every move made by the player, and the leaf node represents the result of the game. Either you lose, you draw, or you win the game. So game tree in two play is a two-player game. We assume one is called max, tries to maximize the utility, and one is called min, tries to minimize the utility. A utility function determines the value of terminal states. Example, win will be +1, draw 0, and loss is -1. I hope you could understand it. Now we already studied many state space search problems. Let us compare it a little bit with game problem. So in state space, what we had start state, we had intermediate states, we had rules or operators, and we had a goal state. In case of game problem, we have a start state, we have legal moves, and we have winning positions, which is nothing but the goals. The same thing I have put in the table also here. You have legal board positions, which we call in case of state space as such. And in rules are nothing but the moves what you make on the board. Like simple, like when you're talking about a horse, in case of chess, it will move 2.5. So these are nothing but the legal moves. And the goal is here winning positions. So I hope the concept is a bit clear. We'll be talking about min-max in the next lecture. The concept will be still more clear. This was just an introduction to how a game playing can be formulated using an AI approach. Thank you.